I let their family borrow my tent for a weekend camping trip. It came back ripped, muddy, and reeking of mildew. When I mentioned it, she said, "We didn't think you'd care. You never go anywhere." I cleaned every corner. Then I slipped one thing inside before returning the favor. I live in Mount Vernon, Washington. It's not a fancy town, but it's quiet. People here mostly stick to their routines. I work from home, don't really go out much. I've had the same neighbors for years, but the only one who ever really talks to me is Angela. Angela and her husband Dave live 3 doors down. They've got 3 kids, 2 dogs, and the kind of energy that makes everything about them. Angela's loud in that friendly but exhausting way. She's the person who shows up uninvited and makes herself at home like she's doing you a favor. She's always borrowing stuff. A ladder, my hedge clippers, a folding table. She returns things late, if at all. I've stopped lending her anything valuable. But last fall, she caught me off guard. She came by on a Thursday evening. I was just cleaning out my shed. "Oh my God, perfect timing," she said, walking right up the driveway like it was hers. "I heard from Paul you've got that big REI tent, the 8-person one?" I nodded. "Yeah, it's in decent shape." She grinned like I'd already said yes. "We're doing a weekend camping trip up at Baker Lake. Just me, Dave, the kids, and maybe my sister's family. Could we borrow it? Just for 2 nights. I hesitated. That tent cost me almost $400. I bought it after my divorce, back when I was trying to figure out who I was without anyone else. I only used it a few times, but it meant something to me. It was mine. But Angela was already thanking me before I said anything. "We'll be super careful. Promise." I felt cornered. "Just make sure it's clean and dry before you pack it up." "Oh, totally. I know how that mildew smell can ruin a tent." That was the last full sentence of honesty she spoke. They left Friday afternoon. Came back late Sunday. By Monday morning, the tent was on my porch. Not in a neat bag, just dumped in a pile like trash. The canvas was stained and soaking wet. One of the aluminum poles was snapped in half. The bag was ripped down the side. It smelled like beer, sweat, mildew, and something sour, like meat left in a hot car. I stood there just staring at it. I didn't even know what to say. I texted her, "Hey, the tent's back. Looks like it got wet. There's some damage." 5 minutes later, she wrote back, "We didn't think you'd care. You never go anywhere." I just stared at the message. That's how she saw me. Not someone who loaned her something. Not someone who helped. Just a person with things she didn't think I used, so they didn't matter. Like my stuff wasn't worth respect because I don't post pictures of camping trips or go to brunch every weekend. I spent 2 whole days cleaning that tent. I scrubbed it in sections in my bathtub, laid it out across my lawn to air dry, used disinfectant wipes on the inside, ordered a replacement pole, and stitched the ripped fabric. I didn't tell her any of that. She never asked. 6 weeks later, she texted again. "Hey, me and the girls are doing a weekend thing down near the gorge. Could we borrow that tent again? Just for a quick trip?" I stared at the message for a long time. Then I wrote, "Sure. I'll leave it on the porch." I packed it that night, folded it carefully, made sure the new pole fit, zipped it into the clean bag. Then I unzipped one of the side pockets, the one they probably didn't even check last time. I took a Ziploc bag, dropped a small piece of raw chicken inside, and left the seal open just a bit. Just enough. Then I tucked it deep into that pocket behind the lining. You wouldn't find it unless you were looking. I zipped the pocket closed and smiled. They picked it up the next morning. I didn't hear anything for a few days. Then things started getting interesting. They left on a Friday again. I saw Dave loading up the car, coolers, folding chairs, duffel bags tossed on top of the tent bag like it was nothing. Angela waved from the driveway, like we were old friends. I nodded, didn't say a word. Saturday evening, I was sitting on my porch when I got a text. "Angela, did you do something to the tent?" "No, hey. No, how's it going?" Just that. I didn't reply right away. I wanted her to sweat. Sunday morning, I got a call. I let it ring. Then came a voicemail. Her voice, tight and irritated. "You need to call me back. Something smells in that tent. It's disgusting. We couldn't even sleep in it last night. We had to pile into the car. I don't know what kind of joke this is, but it's not funny. I listened to it twice. Then I deleted it. The next day, she showed up at my door. I could hear her from the driveway, arguing with Dave. She was holding the tent bag like it had a dead animal in it. I opened the door before she knocked. "You sabotaged your own tent," she snapped. "Who does that?" I kept my voice calm. "I don't know what you're talking about." "Oh, come on. There's something rotten in there. It smells like something died. We had to throw away our sleeping bags. My friend Julie actually threw up. It's soaked into everything." I nodded slowly. "Weird. Maybe it got packed up wet again." She blinked. "Are you serious?" "You didn't think I'd care," I said. "Remember?" Her mouth dropped open, but she had nothing to say. "Anyway," I added, "I'd recommend airing it out. And maybe next time bring your own." She didn't say thank you. She didn't apologize. She just turned and walked back down the steps, dragging the tent behind her like it was poisoned. Later that week, I heard from another neighbor, the quiet woman across the street, Sarah. "You hear about Angela's car?" she asked. I shrugged. "Something spilled inside. Raw meat or something. Whole trunk stinks. They can't get it out." I just nodded, acted like I didn't know anything. But I knew that smell. Once it gets in, it doesn't come out. Not completely. Angela didn't talk to me after that. Not for weeks. Then something else happened. It was almost a month later when I noticed the flyer on my door. It was for a local yard sale. A community event Angela had organized. She called it the neighborhood clean out. The kind where people laid out tables on their lawns, tried to offload old junk, toys, tools, whatever they didn't want anymore. Her name was listed at the bottom in big, bubbly letters. "Questions? Ask Angela." That Saturday, I walked past her house just to see. She had 3 folding tables covered in clutter. Books, shoes, mismatched cookware. But what caught my eye was the tent. My tent, spread out across her driveway. With a sign on it. "Large family tent. Needs TLC." $40. I just stood there for a second. Angela saw me. Her smile dropped. I kept my voice even. "You selling my tent?" She crossed her arms. "It's not yours anymore. You said I ruined it." "I said you returned it trashed. Then asked to borrow it again." She shrugged. "You obviously didn't want it. You didn't even ask. Why would I? You don't even use it. What do you care?" That was the second time she said it. Like not using something means it's up for grabs. I didn't argue. I didn't yell. I walked away. But that night, I waited until it was dark. I slipped around the side of her house. I know the layout well. She always leaves the side gate unlocked for the dogs. The tent was still there, folded into the bag, sign missing now. I didn't take it back. I didn't want it anymore. But I did unzip the bag, just enough. Inside, I dropped something else. Not chicken this time. Not food at all. A stack of 3 printed emails. Photocopies. From Dave to someone named Katrina. I didn't even have to dig. They were right there in the shared folder on their home network. I don't think Angela ever changed the default password on their Wi-Fi router. The emails were private. Graphic. Definitely not something you'd want read by your wife or her friends. I sealed the tent back up. Quiet. Precise. The next day, the tent was gone. And by Monday, the screaming started. They tried to keep it quiet, but the walls are thin in these houses. Later that week, Dave moved out. Angela must have figured out someone left those emails. But she never said a word to me. She stopped waving. Stopped showing up on my porch. And then one morning I found a note taped to my front door. Just 4 words. "You went too far." But she still doesn't get it. I don't feel proud of what I did. But I don't regret it, either. She thought I was invisible, that I didn't matter because I kept to myself. But now, every time she walks past my house without looking up, I know she remembers. And the truth is, some things don't need to be stolen to be taken. Sometimes they're just ignored long enough to feel worthless, until someone reminds you what they're really worth.